Hi guys, my name's Jamie and I'm the Media Production Supervisor at Camp Elam, and today I'll be walking you through how to make this triangle shawl. I'll be explaining all of the steps and stitches that you need to know to make this, so even if you've never crocheted anything before, this project should be perfect for you. This pattern is really adaptable, so you can use whatever yarn you'd like. I'll be using this 1 pound skein from Karen because it's cheap, it's soft, it's easy to work with, and it's an acrylic, so it's also machine washable and dryable. In order to make a full-sized shawl, you'll probably need between 800 and 1,000 yards of yarn. This skein has 812 yards, so that should work fine. You'll also need a crochet hook. Most skeins come with a hook size recommendation, so we'll just go with that and use an H hook for this project. So first of all, in order to start crocheting, you need a loop on your hook, and in most cases that means starting with a slip knot. To make a slip knot, take the end of your yarn, make a loop like this with the tail on top, and then reach up through the loop and grab the longer working end of the yarn and pull it through the loop you just made. So again, just make a loop and then pull the yarn through. Once you have your slip knot made, you'll take your hook and put it through the loop like this, and then pull on the working end of the yarn to snug it up. So now that we have a loop on our hook like this, we're ready to start learning a chain stitch. As you crochet, you'll want to hold your work in a way that lets you control the amount of tension that you have on the yarn. Personally, I like to wrap the working yarn around my pinky finger like this, and then my index finger on my left hand so that I can use that index finger to adjust the tension. Then I hold the rest of my work down here, kind of under the knot, with my other fingers. To make a chain stitch, you'll wrap the yarn around the hook, this is called a yarn over, and then use the hook to pull the yarn through the loop on your hook. You can see here how we've created a new loop on our hook, so again you'll yarn over, and then pull the yarn through the loop on your hook. Practice this motion for a while until you get a feel for it. This motion of yarning over and pulling the yarn through the loop is the basis of all crochet stitches, so if you can get the hang of it, you'll be in good shape to learn all the other stitches. So once you've got the hang of the chain stitch and have worked a few in a row like this, we're going to start learning the single crochet. So to start this row, we're going to skip the one closest to our hook, and then stick your hook through that V so that you have 2 strands of yarn on top. Then you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop through that stitch. At this point, you should have 2 loops on your hook, like this. Yarn over and draw a new loop through both of the loops on your hook, like this. And that finishes up your stitch. Then you just repeat that same process through each of the following chain stitches to continue down to the end of your row. Once you get to the end, like this, work 1 chain stitch, and then turn your work. So as you look back at the row of single crochet stitches that you just made, you can see that there's that same V shape here up on the top, and then this row of holes along the front. You'll be working your next row of stitches through those holes underneath the V's, like this. Once you've got the hang of the single crochet stitch, it's time to learn the half double crochet. The half double is very similar to the single, except you're going to yarn over once before you put your hook through your stitch. So you'll yarn over, put your hook through, and then draw up a loop. So at this point you should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw that new loop through all 3 loops to finish your stitch. So again, yarn over, draw a loop up through the stitch, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 loops. So keep practicing this until you have a feel for this stitch, and then we'll be ready to move on to the shawl pattern. So at this point, you should understand how to make a slip knot, and also how to work a chain stitch, a single crochet stitch, and a half double crochet. So go ahead and grab the end of your yarn and make a slip knot. And stick your hook through. Then pick up your yarn and work 3 chain stitches like this. Once you have 3 chains, we're actually going to skip the first 2 chains and work into the one closest to your slip knot. So through that chain, we're going to work a half double crochet, and then in that same chain stitch, we're going to work a single crochet, and then again through that same chain, we're going to work another half double. So at this point, you should have a half double crochet, a single crochet, and another half double crochet all worked into the same third chain stitch. Once you have those stitches completed, chain 2 and turn your work. So to make the shape of this shawl, we're going to increase at the beginning and the end of each row. We'll work a half double crochet and a single crochet into the first stitch. Then we'll work a half double into the middle stitch. And then a single crochet and a half double crochet in the last stitch. Then at the end of this row, chain 2 and turn. So again on this row, work an increase by working a half double crochet and a single crochet into the first stitch. And then we'll keep alternating, so a half double crochet in the next stitch, then a single crochet, then a half double crochet, and then we'll increase in the last stitch by working both a single crochet and a half double crochet in this last stitch, and then chain 2 to end your row. So keep following this pattern, so an increase at the beginning with a half double crochet and single crochet in the first stitch, then alternate half double crochet and single crochet across, and then a single crochet and a half double crochet increase in the last stitch. Then chain 2 and turn. Also, as a heads up for my more established crocheters out there, the chain 2 at the end of each row is just for turning and does not count as a stitch. So here you can see I've worked a few more rows so you can start to see the texture of this pattern. This pattern is really nice because it's easy to scale to different sizes. You can actually end this pattern at the end of any row and it won't mess up the pattern. So if you work just a little bit, you could make something like a shawl for a doll. Or you could work a lot of yarn to make a full-size, more blanket-like shawl like this one. This pattern works really well with a bunch of different types of yarn too. You can see this one I made with the same pattern, but I used a merino wool blend, and it turned out really flowy and soft. So as you go, just keep working this same pattern with an increase at the beginning and an increase at the end. Keep alternating that half double crochet and single crochet until you either run out of yarn or you run out of patience. I hope you enjoyed this breakout session, maybe learned something new along the way. If you guys have any questions about this pattern, or about crocheting, or need clarification, feel free to get in touch. I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of the retreat.